Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Guile Treatment. We have Church joining us with the normal folks, Chris and Barrett.
Yeah. Hi everyone.
How is Barrett a normal folk? This is like his third episode.
It's his second episode.
And now
It is his second?
Yes.
Oh,
my second
official.
Sure.
Second official.
Second one of officially being a part of the team. This is probably like my sixth.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
So we had, I guess, a pretty big announcement from Desco, like rules wise.
Yep.
Some pretty big updates. Still not a lot of word on the new set, but stuff to sort of chew over. I guess the biggest stuff is probably changes to the block step, or really, I guess, clarifications for Akuma.
Matata.
And sort of how he interacts with blocks.
Yeah.
Where there was definitely confusion before and some uncertainty, and so they've taken the step of like making sure that when he flips it, or if he flips the current attack, it will drop before block status is determined. So anything that's like a response that says after you block with this, you can't use anything. So for instance,
Stop.
From Hell that says like if this isn't blocked, something happens, like that won't fire. I don't know. I'm sure that there's other ones, but those are the biggest two.
Yelling stop.
Yeah, stop. I'm just gonna yell stop every time.
It's just extra clarification that prepare to fight doesn't work. A lot of people already knew that, but now it's very clarified.
Yeah. Very true.
But no breaker.
No Templar.
No Templar. Yeah, nothing like that.
No Demon Realm Awakening.
Good.
I'm sure there's a card that one of us is on that has to do with blocking and when you block with it, but no one mentions that one.
No, but that's
right.
So he can't.
You can't flip on it. It's a foundation. Yes, you are. You're busted. The Badger Club is busted against Akuma. It is.
I do genuinely keep forgetting that Akuma doesn't care about foundations. It's the rest of the stuff that he hates.
I always try to flip on foundations. It's really bad.
Yeah. It was the contrast is like Morrigan can and then like he can't, and so like it's like
and Morgan spending 3 life to do it once per turn, so
that's kind of a big I don't know, we've been kind of playing like that here in Rockford though I think for a while, so it hasn't really changed much, but now that we know officially,
why would you play incorrectly for a while?
Well, it's because I knew from Tim Keefe that this was coming, so we kind of we're just practicing like that because of the PTC. Yep. So whatever.
Listen to this guy.
Inside scoop.
That's insider trading.
Got like a head start on all you other guys who had no idea that the rules were going to change. Okay.
Yeah. So that's like even Donovan's R doesn't work either because it's technically not blocked, right?
Yep.
So Donovan's R won't even fire too. So. I know one guy who doesn't want to play Donovan now because of that specific rule change, and I'm just like, why? Donovan's really good. It's like you may not even face an Akuma the entire time unless you get into top. So you
might foundation blocks that have like +1.
Yeah, just block with foundations and you're fine. That's how you beat Akuma. That and you just dump like 1 billion damage on him like Drillman did to me yesterday. So
I mean, you want to
Drillman?
I lost to Drillman. Yes.
Nice. Hey, Drill Bomb is relevant only in him, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand the Donovan one. Just because I've also been playing Donovan, and like you want to be blocking with all the foundations you keep drawing anyway, and he can't touch those. So,
exactly.
Yeah. And you don't really care, and so him aborting an attack anyway, like I'd say you're playing Under Death or whatever, and you want to block with your Skull Barrier, and so Akuma's like, well, I'm gonna flip this over so you can't get that thing there, right? And you're like, okay, cool. Well, just because I can't play it as a reversal now doesn't mean that it still sits in my card pool, and so it's just one of those things. You can still choose to pass it, and that is still important.
Yeah, I guess because if you don't pass it, it gets discarded, right?
Yeah. And that's how it's always been just for Akuma. If he chooses to abort his attack, you can always just clear a card from your card pool instead, and it's like, but you discarded a card, and so that's but so did Akuma.
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
I agree. I don't think it's a really big change. I think it's more of a clarification, which is still important. I think there was obviously a lot of debate because the only silver bullet to him now is like Bang, and like that was the big discussion on like the comment thread on Facebook about it. But like to be honest, like I don't actually think Akuma's like super nutty as everyone's kind of fearing. I think he's relevant, and you need to play around
relevant,
him.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think the issue, if you will, with him is that like he's just another one of these like aggro characters where when he draws like a hot hand, like you evaporate.
Oh yeah,
and there's nothing you can do about it.
That's very
And now it means that if you have this one answer that usually says against that kind of hand or deck you can survive, it doesn't anymore.
True. True.
And it almost feels.
Yeah, I don't know. The other thing too is like not only is it like that it's he can just kill you with like 2 or 3 attacks or like
generally
it's like
two
one,
at a time. Yeah.
If one lands, like you're probably dead.
I mean, like if you just like it's really bad if he draws 3 and then it ends with Congo and then you're dead. So that's usually
the thing too is that like he's a little bit. I mean, honestly, in some ways, he's a bit like Liu Kang, where he just sort of attacks you in a strange way that like is difficult to interact with. So yeah, I mean, they just sort of they keep being these like aggro decks that are like kind of like a weird niche, and it's tough to run like generic hate.
True.
You know what I mean? Like
you want to know what some of the best hate is against him though? Guile's face. He hates that fucking card. Cool focus.
Yeah, that's fair.
He hates that card. I hate that card, man.
It's one of the things too. Is like like if this is just becoming like how do we beat Akuma kind of thing.
I kind of don't want to do that. I kind of want to keep going, but yeah, you can finish your thought there.
Yeah, it's more so. It's just like I agree. Like Gyro Attack, which is incredibly strong in him. Like although Prepare to Fight's not an answer, like you have things that like Revoke, which is a response, so you can deal with it. Like or admission fees. Like you have cards that you have to be putting in your deck now that are relevant. Like I think War for Armageddon is a must-have now because admission fees has a responsibility, and there are other nutty cards that have responsibilities. War for Armageddon should be in every deck that can play it. And so like because. The idea is if they build admission fees by turn 1 or turn 2, you just auto lose, and I think that is a very fair argument. But there is foundation hate, and there is committal, like there is all these things that exist, and so like
you could active treason. That's a thing.
Yeah, actually, absolutely. It's one of those things where it's like people
S-class hunter.
You have
boys.
You have to adapt, and so like we have to put these cards in now that answer this for the same reason why people put Chasing the Fight money in their deck when Liu Kang was a big deal. Like, so like, and I think that's good. That should be happening. It makes old cards relevant and makes the new cards that come out don't feel as silver bullety. I think people were just upset that this one answer that they're already playing for other strong characters doesn't work against this character that's already strong, and so it's this buff essentially, right? But I think if you're teching for the meta, it's not really nothing really changed in my opinion. So.
All right, so moving on to the keyword thing. Now, keywords are now real keywords if they are like deadlock reversal. It's an actual reversal now. The real keywords.
Name-specific keywords are always regarded as attacks that have that keyword. So like the big hitters are like
Ovipositor.
Well, not just named ones, but things that are gated by deadlock and desperation.
Yeah, absolutely.
That works.
So or like I like the idea. Like when I first saw this, I was like, oh, Sub-Zero can play Getaway Fire. Getaway Fire. I was like, awesome, cool. Let's play some Tech Waters. Find out. Yeah, there's no good Tech Waters with stuff.
Yeah, okay. I went the other way on that. I built a Sub-Zero on water with about 20-something spammy attacks and then a few 4-diffs because I'm a weirdo like that. And Sub-Zero doesn't have 6 hand-size aggro problems when he's got 30 attacks. Cryptic Needle is a good deadlock. If they walk in a deadlock, it's good. Otherwise, it's a 3-diff. Screw you, 305. I don't know.
But the thing is, but because it's a stun attack, like if Sub-Zero puts two damage on it, and if they block it, they have to discard. Even though it's like deadlock.
It's not actually stunning them. It's still a stun attack.
And like
so
that's
basically,
also
the rules change just meant you don't have to explain it to new players. Cards work as they should.
Although there are definitely cards that were sort of like designed thinking about like the old way of working.
Oh yeah.
So. It'll be interesting to see how this kind of pans out if there's ever something that ends up being like really busted.
Well,
like the other ones that got buffed, in my opinion, are things like Wrath of the Raging Demon is actually like you can pick that up with a Dying Rage now because it is now always considered a desperation attack, and so like you can actually build decks now that get to play this nutty foundation anyway, pick up a free card off the top of your discard pile, and Wrath of a Raging Demon is one that you could randomly pick up and it actually be really relevant. And so, like,
and it'll get that pump from, what was it, Doomblade, I think was the one?
Yeah, Doomblade will give it like 5 damage, 4 damage. I don't know what the desperation rating is.
Correct, because it checks for the desperation rating, which it now is always regarded to be having that.
Yeah.
It's just now not unlocked unless you are a Kuma, and that's the new ruling. We were talking about earlier, Eligor gets access to every single reversal in the game now, and so Eligor is busted.
Eligor has access to air, ground smash, every reversal. Quote Barrett Bryant.
I'm positive it's the best one. Quote me on it.
I know Luke Butler's a happy man.
Hockey is the famous one. Quote me on that.
Yeah. So like having stuff like that is just, it makes clarification for abilities. And this works in any scenario, right? So like if you have a foundation that says something like your stun attack gets whatever, or if your attack has a keyword rating of blank, like on Bonsai Enthusiast, even if it was gated by a deadlock, you can still commit it to draw because it does still have the keyword. So like that kind of clarification, just like you were saying, it makes it easier for new players, but I think it's also intuitive for balancing wise.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah, I know someone said something about how Sheepman can give Shohoken 2/2 now because it's
I like how we said that at the same time.
Yeah.
I was also going to go to Shohoken.
Yeah. Like Shohoken now is considered a real stun attack. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what else? Go ahead, Rob.
So does that mean that Jet can pump this stuff? Like, obviously you can't play it, but like, for instance, if you're in Deadlock, can he make Hellgate like a stun 6?
I assume he would have before that.
I think he did before as well, actually.
Yeah.
No, because it wasn't printed before.
Because his stuff was only printed. That's right. Non-printed,
I actually don't know the interaction of this change to include the word printed. But I would, because I don't think that's what it's checking, right? I think the rule change was that they're always just to be clarified as. I have the specific wording. I.2.2.5 has been changed once again. Now a play restriction preceding a keyword ability places that restriction on the granted ability. This means that Shoryuken is now a stun attack in any character, but only Sakura may play the stun ability. Thundering Impact is now a powerful attack, whether in or out of Deadlock, but the powerful ability may only be played in Deadlock criteria.
So does that mean you could combo off of it then, because it's technically still there?
Yeah, just checked it. The Jet frequently asked post has been updated, so let me go check that out.
Okay.
Yes, I forgot about that part.
Yeah. No, because that means you could combo off of like stun now, like a Deadlock stun or something like that. You could combo off.
Yeah, because we definitely asked that when whatever it's called came out. The
Arm Vengeance.
Vengeance.
Yeah. That's probably the only relevant one.
Yep.
Then I believe there was a couple other clarifications or rules updates other than those, correct?
Yeah. So we have deck list errors. They just kind of reclarified how, like, we've been kind of paying attention to this since 2017. Just want to enforce that we care a lot about it. I think the only reason they brought that up because of the issue that happened at Nationals that people were either upset that they didn't do anything about a missing card in a deck, essentially, because it was left over at a table. I think that's the only reason why this came up. It's because
and they also changed it from, is it still a straight DQ? It's only a DQ now if you're under minimum, correct?
It says we'll be changing the rule that it maintains consistency but does not punish players as harshly for their clerical mistakes.
Okay.
The new rule is as follows. DQ if the player presents a physically illegal deck, under 60, 5 or more copies, banned or rotated cards. Mm-hmm. Game loss every round of top cuts if a player's deck list is illegal but can be fixed after sideboarding.
Okay.
The player may still sideboard.
That seems a bit rough.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it better than just getting DQ'd?
Yeah.
Yeah, you still get to play. Yeah.
Game loss every round of top cuts if a player.
Oh, you know what that means? You get to go first game 2 then, because you automatically lose game 1. So you win game 2, and then you flip the script in game 3.
It's all planned.
Well, I think you can sideboard before the first game, basically.
Yeah, you're allowed to sideboard.
Yeah, you're allowed to.
So you could easily turn this into a strategy to where you just make tops and you go first every time because you have to take a game loss. But what happens if the other players, the higher...
better for sandbagging people, right? Which
actually leads into the next thing we're going to be talking about how now higher seeds go first no matter what. So how does that work? If someone has a DQ... if someone has an illegal... gets like a game loss in top cuts, how does that work? Because I know that it means the player wins the game. They're up one who would have gone first anyway.
So you went first in game 1 and you lost.
Yeah, okay. If you're the higher seed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which happens. I would agree.
Okay.
So moving on to the next one. Game loss every round in top cuts if a player presents a deck that does not match their deck list and is not illegal.
Okay.
The player must play the cards on the deck list for the remainder of the tournament. DQ if a deck list cannot be corrected after attempting to sideboard.
Oh, okay.
Right. I think that just means like incorrect cards. Like if you actually have incorrect cards. So yeah, that's the new changes. It's no longer like
straight
you messed up, boom.
Yeah.
Like you're out. Like
that's
so.
They also talked about maybe fixing the mulligan rule. Something they're thinking. It's not an official rule, but they're thinking about changing the mulligan to second player getting the turbo mulligan. They're getting data on that and all that stuff. I think we talked about that last week.
Jason actually asked a bunch of people, like just directly messaged a bunch of people. Were any of us cool enough for that? Barrett, were you cool enough for that message?
Yeah.
Chris was?
Yeah.
I have to double check. I don't remember who I talked to.
Oh, whatever. We talked about it on last week's episode.
No, I've been getting more messages. I've been getting more messages from Fam, and no, it was not about that. So no.
All right. So we got that, and then
Chris is the best of us in Jason's eyes. That's what matters.
Yeah, so the seeding thing and intentional draws, we kind of touched on that. If you are a higher seed going into top cuts, you automatically go first. Not a choice. You go first. Yeah. And that continues throughout every round of top cuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a Swiss champ,
you go first.
Always go first.
That's kind of cool. I think that's neat. It kind of makes more meaningful games towards the end, I guess.
The hard part to me is that was sort of like floated as like an idea where it was like, oh, well, if you want to like reduce like drops or like, IDs and stuff, if like you want to incentivize people to like play it out more, like maybe you could do the seeding thing. And that was always contingent on, but first you should probably like address the going first issue because, like you don't want it to be that much of an advantage.
Yeah,
so
very true.
I guess Jasko is basically saying we don't think going first is an advantage, but
it's a prize.
You
got incentive to go first. Yeah,
that's what people want.
Going first isn't that good, but if you're the Swiss champ, you always get to go first.
Yeah.
Naive.
What?
See, that's the weird thing too. Is like I think what were they talking? Did they say anything about teams yet? Is it with that?
No.
Because
so far it's just singles. It's only singles.
Someone asked Fam directly on the Discord.
No, it's only singles.
Yeah, it doesn't happen in teams, and I don't even think they said anything about pairings.
I thought they were thinking about maybe it was just someone tossing it around on the Discord channel that said
I remember
if you're a higher seed, you get first pick in matchups. So it must be just
I think this rule is like I think the important part is like they released this page and it is like what Rob said earlier, a bunch of information from kind of coming out of almost no information or no talking at all.
Yeah.
And so I don't think this has to clarify that yet because that's not relevant until to Worlds.
Yeah.
This is important though for every PTC leading up until that event.
Yep.
And I think that's part of like we're not sure if we're going to add the Turbo Mulligan rule yet because again I think they're going to basically do another one of these right before this major that's coming up in April, and so because it's to add on, to add on to that this page and to then clarify the other stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think that because they talked about like in-house testing and like tournament results? Do you think that they're letting the seeding determine who goes first to gather tournament results to see if there's an advantage to going first?
I think
that's a really good idea.
I would think so. It would be an easier way to collect data other than having someone write down who went first in every round. But
that's true.
I guess you could figure that out by highest seed
all the PTCs until Worlds are basically just testing grounds for this theory Then they're going to release new information. And there's like a PTC a week before Worlds or something.
Yeah.
My problem with if that's what the case is, unless they're also going to be checking that for the rounds of each PTC, the sample size is not going to be that large.
It's going to be so small.
Yeah, it's going to be so small that this 55% they're talking about, I think, is going to be irrelevant.
Yeah.
And also, if you Swiss champ a PTC, you probably got a good deck that'll.
To be honest, like 55% is such an arbitrary amount anyway.
Yeah.
I don't actually know if it's arbitrary. For most other card games, specifically, I play a lot of Shadowverse, which is online, and because it's all and like Hearthstone will do it too. When they release, they're like, "Hey, we're noticing that this many people are playing this percentage. Like they're playing percent of people playing are playing this deck, and then when that deck goes first, because they can get all of that knowledge." Because it's a completely digital card game,
digital.
that 55% is about actually what they look for when they start considering nerfing things. So it to me, I saw the 55%.
I hear that in a lot of games,
yeah, it's because it's because a little over 50% means that you have a good deck, but it's not busted. When you start hitting the 55%, the extra 5% kind of mark makes it to where
there's no margin of error.
You're talking about a specific case. You're talking about this deck 55%. They're talking about global 55%.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the thing is, you
could
could test a matchup, and then that's gonna be completely different for a different matchup.
I guess I don't know. And in the essence of Hearthstone, they don't check specific decks, but they check classes. So whenever this class goes first, it wins 60% of these games. So obviously this class is really strong. But when it goes second, it has a 40% chance, which means it balances out, right?
Yeah.
So that 50-50 on whether or not you get first or second, and it's 60-40, then it balances out. But when you have a class that wins 60% of their games going first and then also wins 60% of their games going second, that's where they see that's not a first or second issue, that's this class is a little strong right now. So I think
damn consistent.
Yeah, I think you can just take that information. I think 55 is that number that most of these other card games are going.
So what's Spike 1's winning percentage right now?
Has he been wait
we stop keeping track of that?
I mean because he hasn't really been played since Nats?
It was still in the 90s.
What's Anachronis right now?
Oh,
pretty good.
It's pretty good. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with that because I don't know. I think that's just a big change where it's kind of needed, but I don't know if it really is needed. But then I guess I'm wishy-washy because I've never really topped singles.
We need to know if it is needed.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same boat with Rob, where it's the 55%, in my opinion, because if they are using the people and top cuts of all these PTCs as guinea pigs, that sample size is going to be so small that number is going to be extreme. It's going to be one way or the other on whether or not this 50% matters, which means this 55% is not extreme enough.
You would think that it would have to be higher if they're going to change it sooner, but then if they're going to wait till next season to do anything about it, then 55% probably wouldn't be that big of a deal then, right?
I mean, the thing is, honestly, I think you would probably need... I mean, you probably want, every round of every PTC
for sure.
between now and, Nats to really start to get some semblance of an idea.
That's a good sample size, but if it's only top cuts, where it's 8 people, and honestly, maybe at some of these PTCs, only 4.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and we don't know because we're also they're trying to do a lot with this new PTC season, which is also doubling the amount of PTCs that we've had. So maybe that's
cool with that.
Maybe that's I am too, but maybe that's them thinking the sample size will be large enough, but it still won't be by the time Worlds shows up.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the biggest concern, and them trying to make a big change like this.
Yeah.
And in the same scenario, I don't want a Quan Chi to happen. I don't want 2 weeks before Worlds are by the way, going second, you get Turbo Mulligan rules, and you're you just completely changed the game.
Yeah, that was something that we talked about last week about how if they were going to do the Turbo Mulligan thing, it would have to be before the the season started.
Yeah.
You just couldn't do it halfway through it arbitrarily. Just be we're going to change the ruling because that.
I mean, honestly, if we were going to experiment with something, I would rather experiment with Turbo Mulligan than
going
top
first.
seed going first.
Yeah,
I like the idea of Turbo Mulligan because I'm the kind of idiot that already runs 30 or 40 attack decks. And if you got Turbo Mulligan with that garbage, I will choose to go second. Every game is my 40 attack, Elena, and I will mulligan into those 2 foundations and thrash you.
So that's what I'm saying. And like we talked about it too on that episode. So you guys can go check it out if you want to.
I'll put a little card up in the corner right here.
But the cool thing is like, if that rule were to change, there actually becomes a design philosophy and a design space where you can build a deck that excels going second.
Yeah, you could actually, have cards that say
you want to smack some. I want to play Cassie Cage, and I want to build a deck that just plays not over yets and Chris Splats on turn 1 and kills people. Like you can that becomes a philosophy on wanting to go second. Yeah. And because you incorporate the Mulligan Turbo to help that out. And if I'm a lower seed in tops, I get to always go second. Maybe I distinctly want to do not as well, but good. Yeah. Like you actually create this strategy on the tournament environment and deck building that we're gonna change on a dime, and then everybody gets screwed over.
Yeah. What if someone makes like a 10 attack Akuma, and they just intend to go second, Turbo Mulligan into 2 attacks? You'll hit them.
I mean, you're gonna go second at least one game.
Yeah.
If you win.
True. All right, so I guess we're talking about PTCs. We have a couple coming up in the next week or two. We have California, somewhere in the I think like San Jose area. I forget what the name of it's officially called, but then I know there's Chicago. I have it like on an episode that I did something else. I don't remember. It's not like
Cameron Park, California.
Where was it?
Cameron Park, California.
Cameron Park, yes. And then shut up. and then Chicago, which is near and dear to my heart. That's like an hour away that way.
Is this episode even gonna come out before the Cameron Park PTC?
It's coming
I think he wants to put this out Tuesday.
It's coming out tomorrow.
What?
Yes.
You're awesome.
Yeah.
Well, which is why he wanted to record like on Saturday.
Yeah, like Saturday to Sunday is like the best time to record because it gives me time to edit. But this, I can knock this out.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be wearing the Seth Rollins shirt.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I think it'll be cool. We'll get 2 PTCs right away, back to back, and then after that Chicago one, it's not a month until the next one. So that either means hopefully Soul Calibur's out by then.
The DLC packs.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we don't know, but I'm gonna say hopefully it's out by then, and then we'll just have a little bit probably more information too.
Yeah, the DLCs are supposed to drop too, assuming they're in house sometime.
Reprints of promos are coming out. So, like, I think Hyperbomb, is scheduled for April, right?
Yeah, we get High Seas Adventure.
The
only one that matters. We get High Seas Adventure for February, I believe.
Do you not have
but that card's standard.
I do. Yes, I do. I have all these cards.
Already people that are going, and they're excited to get High Seas Adventure because they don't own any. Because to be fair, you could buy it in singles, but generally to get Indimes, it is like $100 investment. Yeah. You'll get a play set, but it's like $100.
Yeah.
Church, talk to me after the show.
But so let's get some predictions here for these PTCs. Let's do Cameron Park first. So So let's see. Let's go. I'm gonna write this stuff down. So we're gonna see how right we are. So let's go. Let's go attendance, guys. Let's see. So Rob, Barrett, me, and Church. Church has a CH because I'm a C. So for attendance. How many are we going to get?
You also start with CH.
I know, but it's easier if I just
You're an idiot.
Shut up. That I know. You don't need to tell me that one, dude.
But you end with my initials. He used the second half of Church.
Yeah, Church is CH at the end.
Definitely.
Just put down my initials. My initials are Club.
See, this guy? Oh, I'm so glad I brought him on. And I'm pointing at him because he's in that corner in my screen. So
I don't know who him is.
We use his feed, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So talking about Barrett. So Rob, how many players are you gonna have?
19.
19? All right. Barrett?
Is it are we playing Price is Right?
19.1.
Highest without it doesn't really matter. Highest without it's just closest.
It's without going it's low without going over, right?
Lowest without going over. Sure.
18.
Well, 18? Lowest without going over.
Shit, guys.
Church?
I was actually going to say 17.
That's fine.
So I'm going to keep at it.
I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to say 22.
All right, I thought you were going to be like,
you're out of contention.
He would have gotten like.
Yeah, too much. Yeah. Okay.
Honestly, to be honest, I think we're all over. So I think we'll have probably get 12.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
You think this is going to be like a what's the Ontario one? The Guelph?
What's going to win it, Church?
Goro.
Okay.
That's a good prediction, to be honest.
Barrett.
Inaccurate.
Oh shit! Is Kevin going?
He's still in standard. He's still in standard right now. So
I'm well aware.
I'm in, dude. 2
Rob?
PTCs.
World or Nat second place teams. Thank you very much. Swiss.
I'll say
Wait, I got second place.
Ken? Oh shit!
No, teams. Swiss.
That's Ken 2 dot, right? That's Ken 2 dot. Okay.
no, Ken 1 dot.
I'm going with Lord
would say-
Raptor 2 because Yari's been playing Lord Raptor 2. I'm going with Lord Raptor 2.
Whoa, Lord Raptor. That's
Do we all get to put a second one?
What, you want to do a second character?
I don't know. Like, there's enough for it to be.
That's fine. Yeah, go ahead. It's fine. You got a second character?
All right, it's draft order, so backwards. So you're up again, Chris.
Oh, shit. I'm going to go with Kuma. I'm going to say Akuma.
Okay.
Oh, fuck. How did no one say that?
Rob?
Ooh.
5, 4, 3, 2.
I'll say Jet.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Barrett?
Jackie Briggs.
No one.
Fuck. I was going to say Jackie. I'm going to say Akuma.
Yeah,
What?
Chris took Akuma.
I took Akuma,
Yeah, that's
dude.
it. I can't say
You
Akuma.
can't take
I don't
him.
get
I took
Akuma 1 dot, obviously.
I'm going to Akuma 2 dot. Obviously 2 dot.
Yeah. I say Akuma 2 dot because Chris didn't say that.
I didn't
I'm
clarify. I'm the host. Hey, I'm
I
the
can't-
official host. I can do whatever I want.
Character.
Rewind, church.
Cassie.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. That's a good list. I like that list.
I like that
Worst,
list.
worst case scenario, because there's 4 of us, we just guessed top 8.
There. Ooh.
I think that's best case scenario.
That's best case scenario. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Let's
So
see.
I got the insider
Whatever.
training.
God,
I've
if that
been
was
training
top
2
8,
guys who's
whatever.
going to go to that
Yeah.
event. They've been playing Goro and Ed 9. Notice how I did
Goro's
not say Ed 9. Shout outs to you, buddy.
I only guessed Jackie. I only guessed Jackie because my last Air Ground Smashes just got shipped to California.
Got shipped to California.
Ooh.
I've shipped a bunch of Heidi stuff to Cameron Park, so someone may be playing Heidi. So
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah,
Oh shit! Yes, someone could have said Jenna too.
No
That's
attack,
interesting.
no attack Heidi. No, that's so in.
yeah. Actually, she's still pretty good that way. Yeah.
Okay. Are we doing the same thing?
Jenna would thrash.
So we got attendance. We got what's gonna win. So should we do a third one for Cameron Park? Because I don't really have a third category.
Like what?
Yeah. Wait. What do you mean?
I don't know. What symbol?
Oh,
How many
Oh.
diversities?
Oh, heck, there we go.
Zero.
Ooh, there you go. Diversity. There we go. Are we all just gonna go with 2? Because it's probably.
I was gonna say 2.
I was gonna.
You know what? I'm optimistic. 1.
Ooh,
1 diversity.
Churchington.
0.
Okay, we got it. Okay, cool.
I mean, I guess if it's small enough, people will be
Small,
like, "Oh, I
dude.
can't play this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Chicago.
But if it's small enough-
I actually know.
But if
there
it's
are
small
multiple
enough,
worlds.
they're
It's small enough, it could also be like
Yeah.
7. Everybody's playing the same day.
All right, attendance for Chicago. Rob, go.
Can we do that? We're doing that now.
I guess. I don't know. Someone wanted to do
Yeah.
it now.
What we at least get to look at what happened at Cameron.
Oh, that's
before
fine.
we
Yeah, let's
just
do that.
went.
That's
We get
fine.
to
That's
wait,
fine. That's fine.
okay?
I got the sheet ready. For next week when we talk about Cameron Park. So I got that. And then we have Iari's going to be on after that too, since he is
Oh, he's going to California. Yeah.
he is in
Oh,
California.
man, I really should have.
He is
Taking him into
he is a Patreon subscriber in the S tier, so that means he can get to come on to the Guile Treatment and talk about what he wants to talk about. So yeah.
There's tiers.
There's tiers. The S tier is the best tier. Yes.
Obviously, you
How
don't
do
know
I
your
want
own
to do
donations
this.
to someone.
I get to
Think
go
that
on
I
the
have
show.
anything to do with that side of?
No, he doesn't. Rob is
Rob,
all.
you are-
Rob's just.
You are
Rob's just
you are the
content.
face.
He's.
You are the
Can I
face
just
of the
hand
Guile
you the money
Treatment.
in person and get to host or something? I would like to be on your show.
You can
You,
just.
you want to you want to steal the host position? That's gotta
I've
be
already
S++
stolen the host
tier.
position. I want to do it again.
It's like the Zillow. make me retire. It's like, here you go. You just bought the Guile Treatment. You're the host now.
You're the host now. Yeah. All right. So, good luck to everybody. I guess it's the second PTC with the Darkstalkers versus Street Fighter meta. I guess, right?
Someone just shoved a table into my camera.
I see that.
So
You're fine. Right? This is the
I have no
because
idea.
what Reno had the
Oh,
first
yeah,
official,
yeah, okay.
and then
Yeah.
now people have had like a month and a half, 2 months to like really
What happened in Reno? I don't remember this. Who won?
Anacaris won.
Anacaris
wow, how
beat
shocking and original.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm
Why
so
didn't
sorry.
you shut up,
I guess I got the sponsorship, so like.
Yeah! Look at that.
So.
Congrats.
Yeah.
But
J-Ray said.
Got the...
J-Ray sent me a message that says the double agent. I was like, that's nuts.
You're legendary, my boy.
I'm legendary.
But
wait. You said I watched the year in review thing. You said you weren't going to travel this year. You have to travel 4 times.
Correct.
I mean, that's not that.
That sponsorship's the only way I'm going to be able to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Which is why I applied for it.
Yeah.
I still want to play.
Yeah.
I still want to play, and I said that in the year in review. I still want to play. I thought I was going to pull a Rob and like go to 2 things this year, and just like
Hey, I went to like 3 or 4 things. Okay.
And I thought I was going to do that, but I think because I'm trying to move at the beginning of March, so I won't be active in the beginning. But I believe Rockford will be my first event actually. That or Omaha. So
Rockford is the good place to be. It's the best.
That's a good place.
Dude, I'll work that out later. I don't have to do any shout outs yet because I haven't signed anything.
Yeah, you're good. So where are we going to now?
Miles Tyler.
Where are we going? What's next? We done talking about the PTC or wait? Yeah, for the most
You
part.
look like you're talking to someone
Sorry,
off camera.
I interrupted. Why did it?
No, I was saying like this is the second. This would be the second and third event of this meta.
Yeah, I was questioning who won Reno, and they said it was Anacaris, and I'm like, oh, fuck off. That barely... People don't even know what Akuma does.
So,
like, come on.
So I think the biggest thing about this California PTC is that it's so far away from the East Coast, and so I don't think Rochester is going to be going to much of this event. I actually don't even think like Phil Birch wants to fly out that far, or the Atlanta crew. Yeah. And so you really have maybe some Midwest people going.
I know that Vegas will be going. Some Vegas players will be going.
They have the Vegas crew, and so like. To me, you have to consider like maybe what are they playing down there, and like I know Tim Freely kind of brought up briefly what they were playing over there.
Yeah,
and I think it's mainly still a lot of Mortal Kombat 10 meta with a little bit of Street Fighter Star Wars. Yeah. So I actually don't think Akuma will be as relevant at this BTC because I just don't think they have the cards and they don't care to play it.
That's true.
Okay,
maybe.
So like that's
California does still have a play group or 2 from what I've heard.
They do.
So.
Yeah, they actually Sacramento's
like 3 BTCs this year or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I heard that there is an Akuma at their store who is intending to run it there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and if Ryan McClain goes, he's playing Evil, so he's playing Akuma because
that makes a lot of sense. Yep.
I will say we are definitely going to find out how many people play UFS in California from this PTC because, like I said, we do have 3 at.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends if it's like Northern California or Southern California.
It's Northern. It's like Bay Area.
I have just been handed this power bar.
Oh my goodness!
I will be selling it on. Okay. Nope,
so that's enough really about the PTC. So let's go into the card. Our new segment, brand new segment. First time
introduction thing right here, right, editor.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna go off to the card's gonna go. The card is gonna go off to my this way. This on the screen.
Yep.
This to the right of me.
We have enough.
Well, you haven't said what it is yet.
No, but it will.
The card of the week if we don't know what it is yet.
Oh, it's
Church. What's your card of the week?
My card of the week.
He does not have
this. It's my favorite card in Standard. I'll give you some hints.
No.
Its middle symbol is death. Its block modifier is mid. When you block with it, it gets you a card. Hold on. Don't guess too quickly, Barrett. It has a damage pump ability. You got it! Demon Realm Awakening!
I asked him, I was like,
review video.
I was like, dude, are you talking about your card? That's what I said to him. Like, you're not talking about your card, are you?
I was ready for him. I was like, I'm ready for Badger Club. Are you kidding me?
But no, I asked Barrett. I asked Barrett to some backstory. I asked Barrett when he came on, and after our first show with him, I asked him, "Hey, I want to start a new segment, just kind of add something new to the Guile treatment, because sometimes the news is kind of slow and we don't have a lot to talk about." So I asked him to do a card of the week thing. So take it away, Barrett. You got card of the week.
So although I love that card, and honestly, we'll probably do it. Honestly, if we don't do it now, we can do it later as well. Do you have your playset yet, Church? By the way.
I own 2.
I'll give you 2 more. Don't worry about it. All right, my card of the week is a card that I believe a lot of people are sleeping on, and I think it has a very good effect, and I think it's a way to maybe slow down this meta for people that want to slow it down. And my card of the week is Uniting the Cosmos.
Rob's like, what does that do? I can see
it. It's one of the. I know it has the giant baby on it.
That's the motherfucker that when you check it, you auto block.
You auto block.
It has something to do.
Yeah.
I don't remember now.
So
you auto block.
Generic Guile Foundation.
Dude, there was an arm cameo on Chris's screen.
It is not a Guile Foundation. It is a Jetta 2. Foundation, but it has Guile on it.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll read the card. I know it's on the screen, but it's a 2/5 with a 3 mid block. So, respond flip after your opponent plays an ability that discards one or more of your momentum. Cancel its effects. Respond discard pile. Remove : after you check this card to play a block, your check is successful, and that attack deals 0 damage. That's the card.
Why do you think people are sleeping on this card?
I think this card enters two ideas around this card.
Okay.
Either one, people agree with me and they think this card is incredibly good and decks that want to play control games.
Mm-hmm.
Or the mentality is this card's effect is not good enough in its symbols and is not worth a 2/5 with a 3 mid block. With a effect in your staging area and a chancy effect for its other one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where people are kind of being misguided by this card. I think under all 3 of its symbols, it has a place under a specific deck. And the best part of this card is that you don't have to be playing any of its symbols and still get to benefit from this card.
Yeah.
And that would say
that's like everyone. You should completely off symbol this card. And I'm gonna just start maining Jackie.
Oh, that was so that was another
right,
thing in the rules, right? Sorry to try to hijack this. If you try to play a non-matching symboled card, you discard the card and your turn's over. That was in the rules.
It was always like that.
That was what the rule ended up being.
That's what they ended up ruling it. It was more of like a hand wave non-real rule.
Yeah.
Now it's a real rule.
But they were consistent about it. You're right. But so no, the reason why I think this card is good is because under all 3 of those symbols, there's a reason and a way to play this card to a better ability than what it just says on the card.
Okay.
And then under symbols like all, you actually just get to abuse this card. And under certain characters, as Church mentioned, Takeda, which is a really good thing for that character, a squishy 7-hander that can use his once per turn ability to guarantee block anything and doesn't have to match the zone. That's why it's this turns any mid block in your hand, as long as you know it's on top of your deck, to block anything and take nothing, even if it's
ghetto Ophidiophobia.
Yeah,
correct. The reason why I think this card is very good.
But I guess, but it also the block's successful, so it's better than a Fid.
Yeah, it's an auto pass.
Yeah.
So obviously the point is that you are chain blocking.
Yeah, I definitely got this backwards. Ophidiophobia is ghetto uniting the cosmos.
Here's my 5 mid block. After I have 4 other blocks in my hand, check uniting, don't have to commit anything, it passes.
Yeah.
That's the perk of the card. And so under Death and Water, you get access to things like Focus Impatient, which in a control deck, in my opinion, should probably already be there because it helps you continuously.
They usually are, yeah.
Yeah, that you either it synergizes with Thrill for Battle, Pull to Majijin, all these cards that you're already playing. This just adds to that package, in my opinion. Defensively, for death control decks, this card allows you to guarantee pass a check and not have to use an attack to block with. You get to use a crappy modifier and guarantee and pass it as long as you know where it's at. And as much as that's that's a very Luxacky kind of mentality to go around it, but if you're looking at so many cards off the top of your deck, I think this card's fantastic. Thus, under the all symbol, where you can selectively stack this by cards like Plant Barrier. So you use a good block with Plant Barrier, respond on the block effect, unless you're playing a Sakuma, stack the Uniting Your Cosmos on top of your deck, and you now have a guaranteed block to pass next one. And you just tell your opponent, want to play another attack? I bet you I'll pass the block.
And what if they build and then you draw it and you have a dead card in the end?
You're right. A good thing under the all symbol, we can draw enough cards to where we can just get rid of it or discard it for an effect. There's not I don't think there's a downside to this card. Me stopping my opponent from attacking me and drawing one dead card is fine. At least that's just how I view it. In the chaos symbol, which is probably the least one I can defend, you're usually basing your decks around momentum, and so it's respond flip to cancel a space land, essentially, or you using fatalities.
I guess that's fair, yeah.
It does do something. It doesn't not have an effect. Kung Jin can play this card under chaos and not have to worry about a space land in his character below.
God, yeah,
forced to draw,
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where the other effect is okay under its symbols.
Yeah.
And
that's a very good point about Chaos. I never thought about it like that. Chaos loves its momentum and it wants to protect it. This is a way to do that.
And then I think for its other two symbols, Water and Death, which are more control-y type decks, this fits that persona. And under all, you can abuse it, just not under any of its symbols. And the best part about off-symboling this card is that its cost to remove it from the game. And so once you get it into your discard pile from that first time, it's gone. You can't get single barrel at that point. Like, you don't have to worry.
You could check it on a build turn and then just go, it's jack you in.
Right. That's the big thing. Like, well, I don't want to play a card that is in my opening hand. I can't build it. But, like, at the same time, in characters like Cassie Cage, and I don't mean to gloat on Cassie Cage because I won nationals with her, but Cassie...
Whoa, humble brag.
Just slide that in there.
I'm just saying, like, as far as I understand, I wouldn't know because I didn't do this. You can build this off the top and it doesn't have to match anything. So you're like, I'm attacking you. I'll enhance Cassie Cage. Okay, I'll build it because I don't want it in my hand because it's going to be stuck there. So, like, Cassie gets around it. Cicada can pick when
protect that momentum you don't use.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I just think the card's very good. It allows characters like Plantman to actually see more play as well under the all symbol, where we can play this in our deck. Look at top.
He can do it on any symbol.
Correct.
He has, like, the filter. Like, anyway, he can look at the top three.
That's true.
Exactly. And I think...
Bless you.
Just because it's from the most recent set in Standard right now, this card only gets stronger, and right now I think it's already strong enough to see.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, you could plant Barrier and then put this on top.
Exactly.
I mean, that's kind of really roundabout way of doing it, but plant Barrier can stack it.
Yeah. But, like, the other thing you can stack it with is, like, SRK, Series of Yukon, or whatever it is.
Yeah. That is a reversal. That's the point.
And that's like a good way to like play a reversal and not be like terrified that you're gonna die.
And so that's another reason why Takeda likes the card, because you're already playing that card. The card's nuts. So I totally agree. Like, I think again, I just think people are just sleeping on this card because they look at Jeddah and they look at his package and you're like, well, Jeddah never wants to play this card, so I'm not gonna play this card. And I don't think that's fair. Yeah. I don't think Jeddah likes this card. I think. No. But in that same realm, this card's good against Jeddah because they can't space land you, so they can't debuild you another foundation.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, I think the card is actually being slept on. The card is $1. It is $1 rare because nobody likes it, and it I believe in the right deck, in a death control, water control, chaos kind of deck, all control deck. It can help slow down this format by a whole extra turn because that one guaranteed block on something that matters can work.
True. Yeah.
Isn't it a little weird when someone has something in their support that beats them, as you were just saying, this piece Jeddah? I always thought it was weird how Jackie has a card that cancels a response that's played on your turn. Like, what's a response that gets played on my turn? How about Jackie's R?
Yeah, you're right.
What?
Very true. Very true. But isn't that like a deadlock R? Isn't that like a deadlock effect though?
Oh, Jackie's gonna go to deadlock because she's fat. That's how you beat her. You run her own card. So weird.
So that's the only reason I picked it. I didn't know your guys' opinion on the card. You wanted me to pick meta relevant ones, and I think this one is. And I think the like really good players will be using it in this kind of degree. Sure. I think people that just want to like play aggressive decks, this isn't the card for them. Yeah. And like, there's no reason for you to play it in that. But it doesn't have aggressive symbols aside from chaos anyway.
True.
So
now, just to make sure, this does not work with Kozak, right? Because he'll remove it before you get a response.
Correct, because the colon is a bracket discard pile, and I believe.
Oh man, if it said discard or remove.
It's not Avarice, because Avarice is a static that says after you check it, it doesn't activate in this card pile. So Kozak can abuse Avarice, but he cannot abuse this one because it will go straight to the remove from game pile. So yes, correct. Okay. Cool. That'd be cool. I mean, Kozak's a 5-hander; he's unplayable. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. There was a Dr. Kozak that topped at Reno.
Smash as well as anybody.
Yeah,
exactly.
True.
As well as anybody except maybe Jackie.
Except for Jackie. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like
or Jeddah. Jeddah one's a god with it.
So like generically in its own symbols, things like Focus Impatient, Pull Demogogen, Thrill for Battle, they make this card playable.
If it seems something like Spike 1 would play it, like a death or a water spike.
Fold and Thrill are both gone whenever Soul Calibur comes out, but Focused Impatient will be around for a couple more sets.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that is a really good card. I mean, it's typically like a 1-of, maybe a 2-of if you're like Spike. Spike 1, that is. But like that's certainly like a great, if you look at the top two cards and you're like, oh, like a decent check, and also this. And you're just like, okay. Like,
Yeah.
I know
really
for
like
sure that
And-
I'm going to be blocking an attack. So.
And the only reason I fell in love with the card is because I was playing a defensive death deck. It happened to be Donovan 2-Dot, which not only draws whenever he blocks, but focus, because he does that, Focus and Patient was a 4 of in my defensive death control deck.
Yeah.
And when you have 4 Focus and Patience, you can do this constantly. And a character that replenishes his hand, Death, Focus and Patient, Uniting the Cosmos is bonkers. And I was already playing this with Plant Barrier under all in Donovan, and so it just works out.
Sure.
Bonkers. It's bonkers.
No.
Dude, that's so weird. You block
It's
the
busted.
Plant Barrier and Donovan, and you do it in the opposite order than what sane people do. You crazy, man.
Yeah, well, the Plant Barrier is like, I'll draw an attack nutty, but sometimes you have to block again.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah, sometimes you fight an Akuma.
yeah, and you're like, exactly. Like, it's stuff like that, where you have this character that is playing on progressive 5s or progressive 6s for the whole turn, and you have to keep up with something that matters. And that card says, after this chain of blocking, I get an auto pass.
Yeah.
And
I
so
tried
it's
playing it in Jeddah myself, and I
garbage
did
in him.
not like it one bit. I did not.
It's not his card,
no.
it's everybody else's.
No, it's it's just kind of weird how that just like it has his face on it, but it's not his card, you know, which is kind of nice.
It's Gil's card.
But yeah,
it's the baby's card.
like I think a Snake Man would like that card on Chaos. Like I tried playing Rob's Earth Snake Man, and it will be on the channel. I lost to Elena because he built Spaceland turn 1 both games.
Oh, get wrecked, son.
And I never saw War for Armageddon whatsoever. It was bad. Like he would love to have that card in the Chaos version, which I don't think a Chaos Snake Man would be as good as an Earth version anyway. So, but
No.
Depends. There's some decent stuff, but
yeah. But no, I like I like the pick. I think the card's gonna see some play coming. I would say more in the Chicago PTC than the Cameron Park one. I think the Cameron Park one would be more like safe decks, maybe. I don't know.
Man. I'm gonna send this video to everyone that lives in California.
I mean, the big
UFS
thing
or
too
not.
is like the set's been out long enough now.
Yeah. That's true.
You know, this isn't like, you know, the set came out like
2
weeks ago.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And like, you know, you expect like old decks to win because they're all, you know.
Oh no,
it's like,
there'll
I already
be
have
newer
this deck.
decks.
It's
I just don't know if people will be
cards
playing like an
and-
off symbol type like plan like Barrett was talking about, like an off
Right.
symbol.
No, there's definitely, for the first card of the day, it's not a like, hey, you're new to the game, try out this really cool card. Like, you're going to probably get screwed up for it or break some rules trying to do the off symboling thing, more so than you are going to use it successfully.
Sure.
Don't get me
your
wrong.
first card of the day sucks.
Whatever.
I'm just-
Card of the week
but
is great.
I did want to, but I think for the new players, this card, people are like, man, people every time I open this card in a pack tell me this sucks. And honestly, they're wrong. I don't think this card sucks.
No, it
Like,
doesn't
I
suck.
think
No.
But I actually do hear a lot of opinions around this card because they're choosing not to play it, and they're because the formats feel so aggressive, and this card is a way to slow it down.
Yeah, sure.
And
No,
I just
that's very
think
true.
I think people are just not making that choice.
Okay, cool. Rob, you got any thoughts on it? All right, cool.
We'll pick some meta garbage next week. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll pick some meta garbage so Rob will be really
Akuma,
salty.
card of the week.
Snake Man,
We're
card.
talking about Kongu, bitches. We're going to talk about Kongu. Everyone hates on that card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dark Chirito.
Dude, those
fuck that
two
card.
guys-
Running.
I hate Dark Chirito, man.
What? He was nuts.
It is. I hate it. I hate it so much. All right, so I think that's it for the episode. We covered pretty much everything. It's not that bad. Nice job,
We
guys.
did it.
You know?
I don't know what our time frame looks like. We chatted for so long before.
Oh, it's we're like on an hour and 17 on the call, so we're like for an hour for the show.
We're like an hour.
We're like an
Okay.
hour, so we're right around where we want to be. You know, because we don't want to go like those 3-hour marathons. That's rough. But yeah,
Yeah, those episodes are stupid. I don't know why anyone would want to do that.
Church. All right, so I guess
I thought we were over.
yeah, we are. I guess we'll do the ending stuff spiel. Like, comment, subscribe. I think next week we will pull the winners for all the cards for the year show. So again,
Your show?
go watch episode 3, not Revenge of the Sith.
I'm in that one.
But watch the episode 3 of the Guile Treatment 2018 episode and comment about your best UFS experience of 2018, and then you may win some cards.
genuinely asking, did I do that?
No, you have not commented.
Okay, I might do that.
You need to comment.
I don't want your cards.
Whatever,
well, honestly,
fine.
one of my best UFS experiences, Barrett, was when I sponsored you at Nationals 2017. And I just had a shouting match with Sean O'Brien about how you're going to beat Kevin, and it was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I did love... Man, dude, I was a little baby playing the game. That was my first competitive game. I'm like, I don't know this guy, but I played against him, and he beat my ass with this mill deck, and I was like, I guess he's making me feel good against this maybe best player in this game at the time.
And then you beat his ass, right?
He Mega Man'd him, yes he did. So
I Mega Memed him.
You sure did.
You sure did.
I knew you were gonna beat him, man, even without the Mega Meme. I knew.
Oh my goodness.
But like, comment, subscribe, watch all of our content, go to our Patreon. You want to be on the show? $10 donation. That's all it takes. It's great. Want to be on the show?
Can I hand you $10 in person? Like when
you still need to pay me for Vegas, so it's fine. You can pay me. Pay me in Vegas.
Steak and shake.
Yeah, you buy me steak and shake. So,
then I get to go to the Guile Treatment. I really want to be on that show.
So next week we'll go over Cameron Park, preview Chicago card of the week. If we're not dead from the polar vortex, that is. If we're not dead by the polar vortex, so we all may die because that cold snap. So a lot of Kingdom
minus 50 in Canada tomorrow.
A lot of Kingdom Hearts 3 in the future, I think. I got a lot of Kingdom Hearts 3 in the next week. I'm on vacation next week, so yes.
Oh, shit. That's a good vacation.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I will not be playing it on day one. I waited 14 years. I think I can wait a while.
You and Trent got the same mentality. Trent's the same way.
I don't have it already downloaded. I ordered it from Amazon. I'll get it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm buying it. I'll pick it up tomorrow at GameStop.
My brother's going to play it first. I'm like, whatever. Take your time, dude.
I didn't play Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2, so I don't really care about it at all.
We get it, Rob. You're old. No one cares.
I played Kingdom Hearts 1. It was all right. I beat the Tarzan level, and then Tarzan didn't stay in my party, and I went, what the fuck? And I stopped playing.
All right, everyone.
I am not playing this whole game.
Have a good night. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching the Guile Treatment. Have a good night.